to another episode of
The Struggle is Real.
Good job on the jazz hands. I'm proud of you guys. I'm your host, Mahalia Latorchu.
I'm Eric Francisco Medina.
And I'm Ryan Pack.
Hey. All right, guys. So, so excited for today's episode because our good friend, Dany Flores, is going to be our interviewee. Dany, we'll get into her bio later on in the show, but she is fantastic, amazing producer, filmmaker, director.
Human.
Yes, we lead her fan club. I'm I'm president of the fan club. I started it. But yeah, she's amazing. So before we do that, let's do our topic of the day.
Yeah.
So guys, do you think that romantic comedies are dying? Like, have you seen any good romantic comedies?
And lately, I think they're slowly coming back. I think that Big Sick was a good romantic kind of comedy. It was kind of solid. I think we're slowly seeing it come back. I think that Jennifer Lopez is really hard trying to keep that genre alive.
Well, Jennifer is moving to more serious roles now.
But the new movie that she's gonna release is gonna be, it's with Owen Wilson. It's basically like a romantic comedy. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with her. But
that was not the name I thought you were gonna say.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. But I think it was dead, and they're slowly trying to bring it back.
I wonder if they just come in waves.
Maybe.
Because there always seems to be like a fluctuation of good rom-coms for like 2 or 3 years, and then it goes kind of dies for another 2 years.
But for the
and
90s and the early 2000s, it was really big. And suddenly, after 2010, it started dying and slowly dying, and people just stopped watching movies. Julia Roberts' entire career is basically rom-coms and Ocean's 11.
Which
so
I'm still mad, unrelated, but I'm so mad they had Julia Roberts play Julia Roberts. Like, what? Stupid.
What? Wait, what? Julia Roberts playing Julia Roberts?
That was in one of the Ocean's movies.
Oh, right.
That was a plot in one of them.
That's true. I forgot about that. I know that she acted.
Oh, my God.
My bad. And
I was like, I thought you knew what I was talking about.
The thing is that I kind of thought that you were going to say never mind. I was thinking of Ocean 13.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No,
and I was like, she was not in that. Wait. What?
No.
And I thought you were referring to. Never mind. Okay. Anyway.
Misunderstanding. We love it.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes the ones from the 90s are really good, and I think there's a thing of feel-good movies that people went back to watching those, and maybe the newer ones they stopped watching, because my aunts are the biggest Julia Roberts fans ever, and they love Runaway Bride, they love Pretty Woman, and to this day they go back to watch those movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it was people just go back watching those. What's the one with Sandra? What's her last name?
Bullock. The Proposal.
No.
Is that the one with Ryan?
That was good. That was fun. That was a funny one.
Yeah, I like that one. I was like, okay.
But no, the one that she's like a cop, and she's like a. It's like it's more comedy than romance, but she was like a Miss something.
Miss Congeniality.
That one, yeah.
Oh, I was so confused.
Yeah, you have movies like that people just go back to, and they're kind of like romantic comedies. People just what's the one that she turns older? The 13-year girl turns older.
13 going on 30.
That one. So you have them just going back to those movies because they're solid, but I guess maybe the newer movies just didn't hit for a lot of people. Love and Basketball. Is that more that's more romance than comedy, right?
Yeah, that's more romance.
So
I haven't even
really
watched it.
I
watched bits and pieces of it. And
I think that it's just that people just went back to the originals, to the OGs.
Yeah.
I think that's a factor. Anyway, you guys talk. I talked
Ryan,
a lot.
what do you think?
So recently I watched this romantic comedy called When We First Met, and it has Adam Devine. Is that how you pronounce this?
That's the singer from Maroon 5.
That's
Adam Devine.
Adam Levine.
Oh,
but
sorry.
Adam Devine.
Is that the funny guy?
Yeah, the funny guy. He was on Workaholic. He was on.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I
Google his name.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then also Alexandra
Daddario.
Daddario.
Yeah. Her I know. Adam.
And yeah,
You said Devine?
Yeah.
Deli.
Who are you, sir?
I know Vie.
Oh, yeah. I know him. Pitch Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was on Netflix. So I recently watched it. I was like, I really love that kind of rom-com, like cute and hopeless or romantic.
Is it when you?
When we first
meet. Okay.
Yeah.
Met, yeah.
I mean, Netflix, I think, is kind of pushing towards that because what's the To All the Boys I
To All the Boys I Love?
Before,
yeah.
Right? I think that was like a I haven't seen it, but I think it's like a rom-com, right? So I think they're slowly coming back.
Yeah.
In terms of like
in a cute way, baby.
Yeah, I think people are like open to see more cutesy stuff.
Yeah. But I feel like people are more open to see it more in like TV shows though, because like when I think of like shows like New Girl that were like really 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 big, like that was.
But that's more comedy.
It is more comedy, but there was some.
Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Is it a rom-com? I only say it's a rom-com because like.
Yeah,
the love is yes, it is comedy, but like there's so much romance that's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like rom-com works better if like the characters are in their teens compared to like if they're like adults, because I don't know, like
that's true.
Innocent.
Yeah, and I think it's also they're taking like a new they're kind of changing the formula of what a rom-com is.
For
example, Someone Great with this one with Gina Rodriguez and Brittany Murphy, and I forgot.
Is that the one where she's singing that Lizzo song in the beginning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
With I forgot her name. Her.
Someone Great.
Yeah, Somewhere Great. It's on Netflix, and The Wonder Wise, that's her name. And it was a funny movie, and it was a rom-com, but it was different. Same thing with Crazy Rich Asians. It was different, and I think they're taking like this new approach towards it. And I mean, you have great romantic movies. You have some that are, in my opinion, are really bad, and a lot of people like that. What's the one?
Like what?
The one that they it's with the girl from. She's a great actress, but in that
is it Kissing
movie,
Booth?
That one is questionable.
Yeah. I don't like that one.
But I think they're slowly coming back in a weird way, and we just have to wait and see because how
it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, classics are classics. You know, anything Julia Roberts touches, in my eyes, is just like the heck. So, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. I think that concludes our topic of the day. All right, let's jump into Dany's bio.
Dany, the great.
Dany Flores is an Ecuadorian independent filmmaker who is based in Atlanta, Georgia. She is a producer, writer, and director. Dany got her degree in film and television production at the Savannah College of Art and Design here in Atlanta. She has produced multiple commercials, music videos, and short films. Her latest short, Vanilla Milkshake, is currently touring the festival circuit and has played out on Atlanta Film Festival, Louisiana LGBTQ+ Festival, the NYIFA Festival, Golden Earth Film Awards, Her International, and Redwood Film Fest. Dany is currently producing a short in collaboration with Hoka Studio and is working as an assistant producer for a Viacom CBS film scheduled to premiere in 2022, which I'm also working on. But yes, Dany is killing it in the game. And we just can't wait to jump into this interview with her. So let's go ahead and call her.
Yeah.
Well, hi, Dany. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
We are so excited because we love you and we love your work.
I mean, I love you guys and I love your work.
Crying tears.
Our work together.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself. For those of you, wow, I can't talk today. Just tell us about yourself.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Dany Flores. I am a filmmaker from Ecuador, which is right? Yeah, which is a country in South America for the ones that don't know. And I moved to the US when I was 17 years old to pursue my dream of becoming a filmmaker. When I was around, 12, I started watching movies nonstop. And I was falling in love with this whole art, and I didn't even realize that was what's happening. Slowly I started watching all of the behind the scenes of how people made movies, and I was like, oh, look at all of these people that are not in front of the camera. I guess somebody has to help make these movies. All the actors. So I started looking into it, and I was like, okay, this seems like an actual career. Let's see if I can do this. So by the time I was 14, I was completely and absolutely in love with anything filmmaking, even though I never been in a film set ever in my life, just by reading and learning about it. So I told my parents that that's what I wanted to do. Like, I want to be a filmmaker. And they were like, okay, where? How are you going to make money making movies?
Was that their real reaction at first?
Well, they were supportive. They were supportive, but they were like, okay,
what's your plan? Yeah.
If you are serious about this, because I wanted to be a chef and an astronaut and a top model at some point. Like, I had a lot of dreams.
I could totally see you as a top model.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I would have supported you.
Thank you. That was my dream when I was 4 years old. And when I told my parents, they told me, you gotta eat all your veggies because top models need to be at least a meter and 60 centimeters. You need to grow. And I was like, got it. And then I did grow. I'm taller than that, but that's what they told me. But they basically, what the reaction was, if you are serious about this when you're 16 years old, we'll find a way to make it happen. Because in my country, we probably had, we have a few movies, we have a few fantastic filmmakers, but we don't have an industry that is gonna be sustainable. You don't do that as a full-time job. So that was their thing. It was, okay, let's be realistic about this. We love you and we want to support your dreams. I'm 16 years old and I am absolutely serious about this. This is what I want to do. At the time, or a year or two before, I was watching the movie Hugo by Martin Scorsese.
Ooh. I love that movie.
And if you've seen the movie, you know that it just walks you through the world of filmmaking and how it came to be. And I remember Melies talking to Hugo about the dreams and the magic of filmmaking. And it was so beautiful. It was absolutely just, I can't even describe it. The feeling, the warm feeling is the only other thing that I can describe it to is being in love. Yeah. Like that warm feeling inside of you that just makes you feel like good. And as soon as I saw the first credits, I was like, that's what I want to do. So I told my parents, I was like, I'm 16 and I'm serious. So what are we going to do about this? So we got on a plane and we went to LA to visit some schools. And that's when I realized how expensive the schools were in this country. I didn't think about it. I was like, I'll just move there. I have $20. I'm fine.
I'll be fine.
Yeah. And then eventually, I had to learn the hard realities of coming to school in the
What
US.
schools did you visit first?
Well, I didn't really know anything about the US. But I did a quick Google search and I found the best film schools in the country, which was USC, UCLA, Chapman University, all in LA. So I went to LA and a friend of my family introduced me to somebody that happened to work in the industry for years and years and years before. He was in the marketing department and he used to work for Warner Brothers. So I was 2 years old and he took me to the Warner Brothers lot and I was just like, it blew my mind. It was like being in Disney World when you're 4 years old, but I was 16 at Warner Brothers. And it was just insane. he has been my mentor. His name is Dan. He's been my mentor since I started in this crazy industry. And I love him very much. And he kind of walked me through the whole, okay, you need to go to school in order to do this. And what do you want to do? You want to be a producer or a director? And I was like, what's the difference? It's all the same. So,
You're fine.
I thought I muted my computer.
You're good.
So he asked me, he's like, do you want to be a producer or a director? I'm like, okay, they're kind of all the same. He's like, no, you need to know the difference. You need to go and learn, to read these books, do all of these things. So I was like, okay, I think producing sounds interesting, but I don't know what it means. It just says that the producers do the thing, and let's find out what the thing is. So I came to the U.S. when I was 17. I moved here to Pennsylvania, and I stayed there with an American family. I was a foreign exchange student, and during that time, I applied to like 8 or 9 film schools here. I knew that I needed to get fantastic SAT scores, all of that fun stuff when you apply to school, to be able to get scholarships, to be able to afford school. I found SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design, in Atlanta, and I knew that The Walking Dead was shooting in Atlanta, so that was my biggest thing. And then I actually and find out that it was literally the hub of productions. Atlanta was huge, and I was like, well, Atlanta is cheaper than LA, smarter for me to move there. It's not that hot all year long. Wrong about that. It's a good place to move. So as soon as I moved here, I started school here. I started meeting a bunch of people, and I kind of fell right into the producer role because when, I don't know, you guys came in a few years after me. I think 2 years after. But when I started a film degree here in Atlanta, I think it was like 50 of us in the film department because film was a brand new major that they opened in the Atlanta campus. There was no students, no film students. The DMC was empty.
Wow.
And we had a bunch of people that wanted to direct, and we had writers, and we had 1 or 2 actors, but we didn't have anybody to put a team together and go make films. So I kind of fell right into that position because you know who I am. You know what I do.
Of course.
I just like, okay, you do this, and you're gonna do this, and you're gonna help with this. And when I did my first short film, and I kind of found a director, and we wrote a story, and then I was editing the film, and I was putting down the credits, and I was like, okay, Molly was the director, Eric was the DP. What was I?
Right.
And Molly was the director/writer. You were the producer, Dany. And after that, I just kind of loved it. It was just a feeling of like fulfillment that I never felt with anything before. And I was like, okay, I think I'm a producer. Learn how to budget, learn to schedule, move forward, and fast forward a little bit, and I did commercials, music videos, a bunch of short films. I also fell into the AD position because I knew how to schedule. So people were like, you can schedule,
you can do this.
Yeah, come be an AD. And I ended up
But to be fair, you are probably one of the best producers and ADs I have ever worked with.
Thank you. I appreciate
You are a force to be reckoned with. For those of you who don't know who Dany is, she is a force and an energy. But she gets shit done.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I met wonderful, wonderful people like you guys, amazing filmmakers that I got to collaborate with. And as soon as I graduated school, I was able to, fall into a position in the industry. I'm a producer's assistant there. We're working, Mahalia and I are actually working in the same movie right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we're able to say, but signed a bunch of NDAs. But I'm a producer's assistant, and I'm an independent filmmaker as well. I'm a producer, I'm a writer, I'm a director. So yeah, that's kind of my story.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
And like Mahala said, we respect you so much. And you're an amazing filmmaker, producer, AD, everything. But we really want to talk a little bit about the process of coming to USA. So living and forming yourself as a human in Ecuador and coming to United States, how was that process of separating yourself from your culture and then coming here, having that culture shock, being like, there's no good coffee around here. I know you like your coffee. So Tell us a little bit about that. I guess
that adjustment period.
Yeah, and the culture shock.
First, I respect you guys so freaking much. I think we just have that mutual respect.
Because this whole episode is going to be nothing but compliments.
But we love you. It's like, I love you. No, I love you more.
Yeah, no, but it's true. It's true. I just want to put it out there because you guys are fantastic filmmakers and you make me better and teach me all these things that I didn't know before. So thank you so much. But yes, adjustment period of moving to the US. I was really young. That's the first thing. And I moved to a town with, I think, 9,000 people up north. To a little place that was covered in snow 8 months of the year. And I didn't understand a lot of things, like a lot of things that never crossed my mind. I came to this country and I learned that we're a thing. And this is going to sound kind of strange, I found out I was brown because somebody told me that I was brown. I didn't know. Mahalia, you smile.
No. I smile because a lot of people are like that. Even for like my sister, that my adoptive sister, when she came from Haiti to America, like last year, she realized for the first time she was Black. She was like, in a country where everybody looks like you don't really think about it. But then I get here and the labels just slapped on me.
Yeah.
It's a huge shock.
Yeah, and it was, I went to school where there was one Black kid, 2 Mexican girls, and me. Everybody else was white. And I never had that idea of white, Black, brown in my head of like, oh, we're groups of people. I was just like, we're all people and whatever, Some of us are a little darker than others, but we're all the same thing. And then in the north of my country, we have Black people, and in the south of my country, we get a little less dark. And I found out, and this might not be true, but this is something that I read. The closest you get to the equator, the darker you are, because the closest you are.
Yes, that is true.
In my country, is literally Ecuador. So I was like, oh, you go to the coast, you go up north, and everybody gets a little darker, and then you go south. That makes sense. It's just pretty. It's diversity. And then I moved here, and like, someone took a picture of me, and it was not me, me and my group of friends, and I'd never seen the snow before, so we all went outside the first time that like snow came down, and we built a snowman. My Spanish teacher took the whole class out because Dany needed to see snow for the first time, so it was an experience for all of us. And we built a snowman, and then they showed me the picture, and I was like, oh, look at how like darker I am than everybody else. And my friend Nick, who is one of my best friends, is like, yeah, you're brown. I'm like, no, I'm not brown. I'm white. I put in every single form that my parents made me fill in my entire life. We put Latino and white. And he's like, yeah, no. Okay, let's talk about race. And I was like, fast forward a few years later, we have the Black Lives Matter movement, and I understand that this brutality in this country is insane. And women of color make less money than men of color, and people of color in general make less money than white people. And it was that whole like a door that opened. It was just all, I don't know if I can swear, but it was
you can swear.
Yeah, you could.
And I was like, what the fuck? What happened to this beautiful American dream of everybody makes movies and falls in love and
we're a melting pot and we're all equal? No.
Right. And that was one of the things that, like, the first thing that I had to learn. Cultural shock, the difference was great, but it was also not that cool for me. I realized that, people here like their bubble, and they're not lovey-dovey like we are. Eric, you know what I'm talking about. We hug each other, and we kiss each other in the cheek when we say hello, and we're used to, like, being touchy-feely.
Physical.
Physical, yeah. But not in a crossing boundaries way,
Yeah.
And then I get here and nobody touches ever. And I'm like, okay, I miss that. I miss being able to, like, hug somebody without them being like, nah. And that was something that eventually I learned that it's just a different type of boundary, and it's just literally a cultural difference. it's funny that you say cultural shock, but because now when I go back to Ecuador and somebody tries to, come and say hello to me and kiss me, I'm like, what are you doing? And then I'm like, oh.
Oh, wait, this
right,
is...
yeah.
This is me. So all of that was really, really different, and it was really lonely for the longest time, especially after I moved to Atlanta, because when I was in Pennsylvania, I lived with the whole family, and then I moved to Atlanta to Spring House, which was an old, an old motel. But really old motel, and it wasn't homey, and it was really hard to make it homey. I moved with one suitcase of things and nothing else, and I didn't have money to go buy things to put on the walls and make it warm and cozy to the thing that I was used to my entire life. So it was a really, really hard thing for me, especially the first 2 years, to find my group of people that I identified with, and I was able to call my friends, and eventually became my second family. But I think all of that made me a better filmmaker and a better person, because it taught me that regardless of where you were coming from, because we had kids from all over the world, but all of us were going through the same struggle of, I came here to do this thing that I really want to do, and now I feel lonely and like shit, and I don't know what to do to fix it. So let's all get together and try to be with each other and form this beautiful community and just become a family, because we don't have one right now. And it was just really, really powerful. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah,
no, you did.
That whole thing of coming to Pennsylvania, right? You were there, and that whole conversation of like, I'm brown and black, again, coming from, I think, under US, and yeah, you're gonna have racism everywhere, but it's less common. Because people, you just, that person, like you said, is whiter than me, that's darker than me. Okay, we're all friends. But here you have that systematic labeling, and you became a label once you enter. Because I'm like, okay, this is weird. Why?
Everybody here seems to know exactly where they come from. You know what I mean? They do the 23andMe thing, and they're like, yeah, I'm 2% this, 3% that, and I'm like, I'm just, my family told me that, yeah, there were some people that lived in Ecuador, and some people that came from France, and some people that came from Spain, and big party. Latins are passionate, and you know what I mean. So who knows what's going on? I can't say, I'm 30% this and 20% that. I could do the 23andMe thing. I just haven't, because I don't feel the need to pinpoint exactly what comes from where, and I understand that that's very important to some people. For me, is I am from Ecuador. I am an Ecuadorian woman, and I love my country, and history is important to me, but I am proud to be from this place. And it's just such, again, a cultural thing, because I feel like people in my country don't really do the ancestry thing, but people here do.
Well, that's because America has a terrible history of erasing other people's cultures. Right. So you guys grow up knowing like your customs and stuff like that, but for the majority of us, we don't know shit. Right. So that I think that's why here in America people are so like, let's do the 23andMe to figure out what we are, because when you get to America, it's forget everything you've ever learned. You're American now. Conform.
Exactly. And that's something else that I was going to bring up. As soon as you enter this country, you have to fit in.
Yeah, you have to change. There is no sticking to the same like customs and stuff like that. They will not allow you to. It's
crazy, because I think because it's such a big country, there's so many different cultures versus my tiny country where we're all sharing the same thing. And it feels more homey because we're all doing the same things and celebrating the same holidays, and and we understand that other religions and other cultures and other beliefs do other things, but everything is kind of the same. And here, like, one huge thing here is Happy Holidays versus Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's like, just be nice, just be do whatever makes everybody feel included and okay, it's a longer conversation to have.
Yeah, right.
But it was definitely a cultural shock. But I love being here, and I love the people that I have been able to meet and the things that I have been able to learn.
Yes.
Because by meeting people from all over the world, and is just, it makes me better. It makes me more compassionate, and it makes me hopefully a little smarter, and just able to be nice and put myself in everybody's shoes, or try to, when I make decisions and say things.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So let's talk about your career a little bit, Dany. You directed and wrote Vanilla Milkshake, which was also your final project at SAD, your thesis, basically. And you've been killing it in the festivals, which congratulations to you, by the way. Very proud. And when we saw the film, we were like, hey, Dany. Like, you couldn't, because of Corona, we had to do the stupid festival online, but you couldn't hear me, but I was in my house like, hey, that's Dany.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Tell us about the film and like why was it important for you to tell that story and how it feels to be killing it in festivals right now.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your support, first of all. Yeah, so Vanilla Milkshake was a story that started years ago. I started probably my sophomore year of college, and I was in screenwriting class. And one of our assignments was go do the beats for this feature film. So I had the idea of a little magical device that just kind of pointed out your soulmate, so you didn't have to go to the trouble of heartbreak, because heartbreak sucks. Nobody wants to go through any of that. And at the time I was 19, 20 years old, and I was trying to figure myself out, and I was on Tinder and all the dating apps you can think of.
Oh my goodness.
So sorry, my cat just
he's like, this is my time to shine. Excuse you.
She can come by and ask a question after me.
Okay, great.
But at the time I was on all these dating apps trying to find this thing that I read about in books and I saw in movies, and is red hot pink love that just amazing, and it just makes you like feel butterflies and stuff, and I just wanted that. I never had a boyfriend in my life, and I just wanted one. I was like, okay, I'm single, I'm living in the US, I don't have parents to tell me what to do or what not to do for the first time in my life.
Was that your cat?
Yes, it is my cat. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I
was
just
like,
saw something. I was like, a hat either fell or the cat jumped.
Our child is being terrible.
That's okay. Ember's doing the same thing. Our dog outside that damn door waiting for us to get out.
So I was, I was confused and lost and just going through all this heartbreak because I was putting myself in situations that weren't ideal and trying to fall in love with people that weren't for me. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I just want somebody to knock on my door and tell me, I am your soulmate. Fuck all of these other people. And that's where the idea came from. I was like, I wish I could just have something that just tells me. So I went to write, a feature film about this girl that fell in love with this guy in a coffee shop, and basically like a 90s rom-com. And I gave that to my professor. He was like, yeah, this is great, but what else? I've seen this story 1,000 times. What's different? What makes it special? And I don't know. So for 2 years, I went back and I made it a short film because I was like, I don't have money to make a feature. Let's make it a short film. Let's make it a proof of concept. Let's make something that we could possibly make into a bigger story at some point in the whole world. Because when I was trying to decide on the characters, I was like, we can literally make so many things because all of these people in the world have soulmates. There's 7 billion stories to tell. Not really, but you know what I mean. It was so hard for me to come up with actual characters for this. So for 2 years, as I went through my own journey and my own experience of falling in love and out of love, I realized that I was gay. which it wasn't a realization that I just woke up one day and I was like, oh, you know what, I'm gay. No, it came with a lot of a lot of things that had to get me to that point. And one day, after coming to terms with it and realizing that yes, this is who I am and this is what I can call myself, I went back to the script. And I was like, I know what's missing. I know what's wrong with this. I'm trying to make this main character fall in love with this man. So I'm trying so hard to make this happen. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel real. Because I was never able to fall in love with a man. Because it was never natural for me. It wasn't real for me. So I revised the script. And at the time, I was ready to do my thesis film. And I had the story. And I was like, okay, I revised this for so many years. It's time to tell this. And I was terrified. I never directed before. I done like one film. I directed one film. And I produced. So I was like, I'm going to produce this. I'm going to find someone else to direct it. So I went to Tang Ho, our friend at Hugget Studios. And I was like, Tang, here's your script. Can you direct it? And he said, I would love to direct this, Dany, but this is your story to tell. This is not up for me to tell. But I'll produce it for you. And we know that Tang is not only a fantastic director, but also a producer. And I was like, okay, I'll think about it. So I thought about it for a little bit. And Tang is the person that gave me that final push of, you are capable of doing this. And I know you're scared. And I know that this story feels like really personal to you and makes you really vulnerable. But I think it's time for you to say this to the world. But it can't come from me. It needs to come from you. So he gave me that last push, and I decided to go ahead and tell the story. Went to raise a bunch of money, not a bunch of money for it.
You raised a good amount, man, and you made your goal.
I did. I made
plus
like
more.
I got 106% out of my 100%,
which is fantastic.
Which was fantastic. I just had such a fantastic team behind my crowdfunding campaign. Shout out to Rocco Shapiro, my bestie, Mariana Gomez, Tang, of course, and Kylie, Jeremy, you guys, everybody that was there, because it was a lot of money. It was almost $6,000 that we needed to raise. We needed 5, but we raised almost 6. And we had to make it. You guys had done crowdfunding campaigns. It's a whole
monster.
And talking to Quinn O'Rear, our lovely, fantastic professor, who gave us the whole idea of making the little film that we made, explaining to the audience why we wanted the money and why this was important for us. I actually wore the same shirt in the video. And raised the money. And now it was about getting to work, finding the actors, finding the right people for roles, and getting me into the mindset of be a director, don't be a producer, because yes, I did some production choices and I produced this as well, but I needed to understand, how the color palette was important, and wardrobe choices, and how to speak with your actors for them to understand what you want from them. It was such a crazy concept. Directing is such a hard thing to do. Props to everybody that does it, because it was so hard for me. Producing is logistics, producing is these are the facts and this is how we do this. Directing is all about looking into yourself and finding those solutions, and it's just such a vulnerable thing to do. And we shot it in August 2019, and my actresses Victoria Baxter and Haley Rains were fantastic. They did such a beautiful job. I can't take a lot of credit for the performances because they did like 90% of the job. I just told them, listen.
Good actors make it very easy for you. Good actors make it easy.
It's just made my job so much easier for me. And a lot of it was explaining them how I felt in those times, because all of the characters are representations of me at different times. We have Arya and Olivia, and Olivia is looking for her soulmate with this bracelet, and she's just looking in all the wrong places, and then Arya comes along and makes her realize that maybe the bracelet is not what's holding her back, but herself and everything that she's telling herself. So it was just such a beautiful journey. And then we finished editing. We had a little bit of visual effects. We had a score who Jeremy Rock and Victor Chavez actually, and Christian Chambers. The three of them worked on the score, and it came out beautifully. And we started submitting it to film festivals, and started hearing back, and it was people liked the story. Which, you know, I watched the film and I realized that we made a lot of mistakes, but at the same time, what I wanted to say is there. And now I'm a better filmmaker, realizing the things that I didn't do right the first time that I can do the next time better.
I think that's really hard as a director, is when you watch, especially your film, you're just like, you see all the mistakes.
Yeah.
You just, and every shot, you're just like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah. And I I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I think I my next time directing, which I hope happens at some point, but I need to still recover from the first time a little bit. I think I'm gonna be a better director for it, because now after I watch the performances, I was like, this is fantastic, but I wish I had said this. Again, they made my job so easy. They're both so talented that I have no regrets acting wise. It's just camera things, you know. Bish Bash, my DP, was fantastic, and I was like, oh, this would have been a fantastic shot if we just did it a little longer, or did it a little shorter, or change the lens one time, or if we added this detail, or if we had coverage from this angle. It was those technical things that would have made the film a lot better. But the film, we are all so proud and so happy with how it turned out.
And you should be. Yeah. It's a very good film.
Thank you. So yeah, we've been on I think 7 film festivals.
Fantastic.
The last one that we were on was Out on Film here in Atlanta, which is the longest running LGBTQ film festival. It's I think 35 years running. And I had the opportunity to talk about the film with the other directors that were part of the block of the South. I think it's just South films, Southeast. We're Southeast, right?
We're Southeast.
Yes.
Southeast films, I think it's called. The name of the blog skipped my head right now. But and some of the directors one of them was Alex Preston, who I work with.
They're SCAD grad,
Alex Preston. He was there with his film The Last Gift. Jonathan Mitchell, who was there with his short film Max, who I actually AD'd that film. So it was sweet. And yeah, we had such a beautiful community of people there, and we all were so supportive of each other. So it's been a wonderful journey. It's been so beautiful to see that people are actually looking at the story and being like, oh, she has something to say. Yeah.
You do. I mean, that film was amazing. So, since you were talking about how watching a lot of films inspired you when you were growing up, like, what kind of stories are you tired of seeing, though? You have such, I mean, you talk about Hugo and all these movies that you loved growing up, but I guess when you see a lot of movies, you start seeing of like, I'm tired of seeing that. I'm tired of seeing that story, that romantic story, that horror story. Like, which ones are you tired of?
See, I'm always here to watch any movie, good and bad. And I don't think, and this is a hot take, I don't think any movie is a bad movie. I think any movie has something
to bring to the table.
Yes, absolutely. I think even when I say the worst film you can think of, probably has something that made you a better filmmaker. And you, Mahalia, don't agree with me. I can see that.
No, I'm thinking. It's...
Even Tornado, what's it called? Sharknado?
How dare you?
I've actually never seen any of the Sharknadoes.
I hate it so much. My brother and my cousins loved it. Probably that's why I hate it so much.
See, I will say like Snakes on the Plane or something, which I never.
Well, we can't even count that. That's Samuel L. Jackson, baby. We gotta.
Absolutely. I saw like bits and pieces of that movie, like when cable was a thing. Coming on cable like really often. And I didn't know that Samuel L. Jackson was in that movie because the only thing I saw was Snakes in the Plane. And I was like, this is such an insane concept, but you gotta give props to whoever pitched that.
Oh,
It got
sure.
made. Like,
Oh, yeah.
You know, after
the levels that you have to go to get shit
done,
greenlit.
exactly.
That's why there are some movies where I'm like, damn, y'all just said okay. Y'all just gave the person money. That like what?
Yeah, and a few $1 million. You know, go make your film about the tornado with sharks. Even though we've seen it 3 times, we're gonna see it 2 more times. I don't know how many Sharknadoes are there out there.
There's a lot. There's a lot. It's an unprecedented number. Unprecedented number.
They're doing
But
it.
back to the question.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that I'm tired of seeing a specific story, just because like the first one that comes to my mind is like the 7th, you know, same action film that we've seen 17 times and there's nothing about it. I feel like because people keep going to the movies to watch the same, you know, 3-act structured thing with, you know, one of the Toms.
One of the Toms.
being just a badass, kicking ass all over. It doesn't leave room for creativity and for people to find a different approach, you know, by giving us the same story all over and over and over again. You are making the audience just be okay with whatever you give them instead of letting them ask for more.
Yeah.
Which is an issue for us as filmmakers because we all have things that we want to say and we want people to, you know, be able to see too. And we're not able to do it. We're not able to be in those spaces and invited into the room because they're like, okay, we're just gonna make Taken 17 and it's gonna be the same thing. And it's gonna be an awesome story and people go watch it because they're freaking awesome, but at the same time it's like, okay, why don't we leave that here and untouched because Taken 1 was freaking insanely good and just go make something else. Right? I think remakes are cool but a little too much now, and I want to see more stories like Lady Bird. You know, I want to see more stories like Booksmart.
Yeah.
I want to see more of Moonshine. You know, the stories of these characters that are just real, and I can, even if you don't look like me, I can relate to you because I understand as a human what you're going through. Those are the movies that make you feel something because Taken is a fantastic movie. Adrenaline, and you're just like, I'm gonna go beat something up after the movie. But a movie like Moonshine makes you look inside yourself and ask questions that you didn't ask yourself before. And I think that's beautiful. And I know Moonshine is a very gay film, and of course I love it. But you don't have to be gay to be able to appreciate it and understand that there's a bigger, deeper meaning behind stories like that. So that's my answer to your question.
That's great.
So, Dany, what's the end goal for you? What is it that you ultimately want to do? I know, heavy question.
That's a loaded question.
Come on. See, I go back and forth because, you know, I say that I'm a producer and I'm a logistics person and I just do all these things to get shit done. But there's also a creative in me, right? Someone that is kind of an underdog. You know, I'm a Latin woman from a tiny country in South America, happens to be queer, that moved to this huge, confusing, beautiful country. And I feel like there's someone out there probably that will, you know, relate to seeing my story out there, or a story that comes from me out there. And you guys, you're from Haiti, you're from Puerto Rico, countries, you have stories from your countries and your background that I assure you there's people out there that want to see that. And I decided to make movies because I wanted to be able to able the people like us to tell their stories. I never wanted to be a filmmaker because of the money or because of the fame that sometimes comes with it. Not a lot of us end up in the red carpet, but I am happy with making short films for the rest of my life if they say something important and change even one person's view of things after they've seen it. In whatever capacity I'm able to be part of that, I think that I decided that I wanted to do this because at the time I was lonely and I was sad and I was 14 years old and the world seemed to be all against me. And the only thing that kept me going was, sitting in my room and watching all these movies about these fantastic worlds and amazing characters. And it made me feel less alone. And I want to be able to make a movie that makes another 14-year-old out there in the world feel a little bit less alone. I don't know if that answers your question.
That's beautiful.
That is a beautiful sentiment.
Like tears.
Right.
No. I mean, that was beautiful. And you have been an amazing guest. We love you so much. But before we go, we have the most important question in this show. And it is, what is your favorite movie and what is your favorite TV show? And the most difficult to answer.
That is really hard to answer.
I know.
What's our favorite question?
Can I make it really long, or do you want a short answer?
Yeah. Share your heart. Open your heart.
Answer right now. Whatever. My favorite movie is Hugo because you know why. It's gonna put me in this crazy journey for the rest of my life. But if I had to choose 5 movies to take with me, if the world was ending and I could only watch the next 5 movies for the rest of my life, it would be La La Land.
As we can see.
Zombieland. Lady Bird. Booksmart. And Easy A.
Easy A.
Nice.
I like Easy A.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
those are... Yeah. Go ahead, Mahalia. Sorry.
I love that.
No, you're fine. Those are good movies.
Thank you.
They speak to your personality because a little bit. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate you. We know that you are going to be a huge success in the future. Can't wait to watch you grow and become the amazing, an even more amazing filmmaker. So yeah, any last words, guys?
You're gonna be your fans always, your number one fans.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're gonna start the
I
fan
lead the Dany Flores fan club.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you
Can I be the vice president?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm president, so.
Thank you both for having me. You know that I love you guys, and I cannot wait to possibly work together.
Hey.
Yes, we have plans for the future.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, we do. Well, thank you, Dany. You're amazing, and have a great day.
You too, guys.
Bye.
All right, guys, we hope you really enjoyed this interview. We love Dany. She was amazing. Closing thoughts?
I mean, she's so talented, and I think she has so many good stories in her head. And one of my things as a filmmaker is when usually filmmakers are humble, they're usually the best filmmakers ever. And Dany is such a great human, and we're gonna see a lot of good stuff coming.
Can't wait
her.
to collaborate with her on an upcoming project. We'll tell you guys. Well, by the time this episode airs, okay, long time. Never mind.
Just follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, right?
You will see something.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please go to our Instagram, subscribe to Struggle is Real on our Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and more. Follow us on Anchor FM. Please check out our merch store. And yeah, Ryan?
Your line?
And hello. And
keep
creating. Wait, hold on. And keep creating, guys.
F, man. F in hosting.
Press F for respect.
What respect?
What are you?
Nothing.
What is?
Thank you,
Wouldn't
guys.
you want to press R for respect?
No, you guys don't know what I mean. Like press like X for to pay respect.
What is
What
that?
the
You know what?
hell
Never
are
mind.
you
You know what?
talking
Never mind.
about?
Never mind. Okay. Bye. Thank you guys.
Bye, guys.
Oh my God! Bye.